And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm your host, District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler, and a rough way to this game to end. The Nats do get the win, but this game should have been a lot more lopsided than it was. The A's score 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Sean Kelly was able to get the save, but for a game that was a pitcher's duel for 5 innings, the Nats' offensive onslaught for 4 innings, and the bullpen nearly blew a huge one. And to me, we'll get to everything in particulars. I blame Dusty Baker. Plain simple. You cannot be chasing saves in a 7-run game. You need Cota for the Dodgers series. The Dodgers series is more important than this ball game. Get Sean Kelly in there to start the inning. Get Blake Treinen in there to start the inning. You have a lot of rested relievers. Get those guys to work. Cota got you the out in the 8th. That should have been it. Now, Cota didn't pitch well at all, but only had the 1 walk. He did throw the strikes. I'm not worried about Glover, but this is not a good one for Dusty Baker if you believe in his manager and him managing a bullpen. Just not. We want to get you involved tonight. Of course, you could send a question to the YouTube channel. You can tweet us on Twitter at District on Deck or at Rickinator555. So let's run through the totals of this wild series finale as the Nats take 2 out of 3 from the A's, are now 5-1 on this West Coast road trip. The Nationals get 11 runs, 11 hits, no errors. The A's 10 runs, 10 hits, and no errors. So definitely a wild one for when you have this. Both teams get the same number of runs and the same number of hits. Tanner Roark gets the win. He goes to 6-2. Ryan Madsen takes the loss in relief. He goes to 1-4. And Sean Kelly gets his 4th save of the season, but he didn't exactly pitch, and he better give up a grand slam to Matt Joyce in this ball game. So a lot to talk about, and we're going to get right to it, of course. And let's start first with I want to start with the positives before I get into the negatives, and talk about this offense and how dominant it's been this year. They've scored 10 runs. I think Nats PR had it 9 times this year. That's pretty remarkable what they've been able to do. And to think about, Sonny Gray was dominating through 5 innings. He had 27 pitches in the first 3 innings of this game. And it all started in the 6th inning. And you got to give a lot of credit to Matt Wieters. He set the tempo, of course, took that broken bat from Adam Lynn off the knee, stayed in the game. Really tough guy that he is. Works a 9-pitch walk. Michael Taylor picks up a base hit. And Trey Turner, who had a couple good at-bats against Gray, might show you that he's turning around a little bit, picks up a big 2-run triple. Brian Goodwin gets a sac fly, very productive out. The Nats get 3 on the board. And that's what you have to do against Gray, was just wait for their pitch. I thought they were too aggressive in the first 3 innings. They were swinging early in the count a lot. Pitch count also had 2 double plays. But I thought the offense was selective and got the job done when they needed to the most. And that made it a huge win, huge inning for that team. Tanner Roark gets the lead. He had given up 1 hit for most of this game. And I thought his curveball was great. His fastball had good movement. Changeup was solid. I liked everything about Roark in this game. The only mistake he made was he hung a breaking ball to Chris Davis, and Chris Davis with a K hit it off the foul pole and left. And he had a couple hits today. And the Nationals, to their credit, have done a good job against Davis in the first 2 ball games. So to get that to a 3-3 tie, Davis, you got to give him credit. He's one of the best home run hitters in the American League. And that's why the A's able to tie it. But the Nats in the 8th inning were able to bounce back, and it starts with Trey Turner. When he's going the way he's going, if he continues to keep up this strong hitting performances, this offense can keep putting up great run performances. Turner gets a leadoff single in the 8th, steals second with Bryce Harper up, which allows Madsen to intentionally walk, which, by the way, a lot of crazy stuff in this game. Can you tell me why Bob Melvin couldn't have talked to Ryan Madsen during the replay review on the Turner stolen base? He has to wait until the review is over to talk to him. I don't know if that's a rule or anything. Maybe you guys can correct me on that. But just an odd turn of events. They decide to walk Bryce Harper with the base open, and Ryan Zimmerman makes him pay a 3-run shot to left field. His 16th of the season, and Nats PR had a great stat. He has hit 10 of his 16 home runs this season with men on base. He has been fantastic this year, hitting .374 now on the year, a 3-for-5 day. Nothing else. You can just talk about everything great about Ryan Zimmerman every day. It's pretty remarkable what he's been able to do. So they get a 6-3 lead. Roark comes back out for the 8th. a little bit of trouble that he had in the inning. Matt Joyce, a 2-out base hit. Chad Pinder, who hadn't really done anything in the series, gets a double. So they go to Glover, 4 outs, which I think was the right call to start. They get Lowry to ground out. And a couple of big outs on Jed Lowry tonight, who had been doing a heck of a job in the series. Before we talk about the ninth, let's talk about Judo Joker's comments here. Has anyone ever given up a grand slam and still earn a save? I'm sure not many are able to say that. Not necessarily something you want to say to anyone, though. No. And I'll go back to it. Sean Kelly's been awful this year. There's no doubt about it. He was one of their best relievers down the stretch last year. And he's gone from a possible closer favorite early in the offseason to you don't know if this guy can get outs right now. And he had the rough time in San Francisco. He got lucky with the bottom of the order up that it was with bases loaded. And today runs to the top of the order, and Matt Joyce made him pay. Was not an easy one. I'll give Kelly credit for getting out of it, but I don't know how much confidence they can have in Sean Kelly anymore. And Ron, we always talk back and forth, thinks there's an injury problem. I've always tried to say no, but I mean, how else can you explain why Sean Kelly's been this bad this year? I mean, everything's just been home run hitting off of him because everything stays right up in the plate. That's a big issue. We go to the ninth inning, and Matt Wieters, again, big 2-run homer after an Adam Lind single. Then Michael Taylor follows it up with a solo shot. 4th time the Nats have gone back-to-back this year. Then with 2 outs, you got a Harper walk. Zim picks up a double, and then Daniel Murphy has to get a hit today. Picks up a 2-run single in the ninth, makes it 11-4. And that's where it gets dicey. And it goes back to what I said at the top of the show. You cannot chase saves. This was a chase save job by Dusty Baker because Coda's sitting in the dugout for that long. They even showed him warming up in the bullpen still during that long 9th inning. I'm sorry. At some point, the Nats are scoring runs. Get them out of the game. You've got a bigger game tomorrow in LA, a series that the Nats don't necessarily have to win, but I think can make a big statement if they do, especially with Clayton Kershaw in this series. And you leave Glover in there. I get it. They don't like looking to the next game until this one's over. But you have to have a little hindsight here. And as soon as Glover started giving up those base hits, you had to get somebody up quicker. But is Sean Kelly the right guy? I mean, honestly, I wrote about how overused Matt Albers is. I trust Matt Albers more than I trust Sean Kelly. And I never thought I would say that in March. But that's the way this bullpen has become, plain and simple. You can't overlook the quality start by Roark, as Judo Joker puts out, and he's been good for 3 starts in a row. Now, he was dominant during the early portions of this game. Really only gave a Davis double in the second, and he scored on a couple of groundouts. But 7 2/3, 4 runs, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 105 pitches, 72 strikes, 10 ground ball outs, and that's when he's successful. Gets that pitch down in the zone and gets those outs when needed. That's the most important thing. When you talk about Tanner Roark's performances, he's got to be able to put the ball on the ground, especially against this A's lineup. They love to crush the ball. All 5 runs against Frankie Montas, and it makes you wonder where Santiago Casilla was because I don't think the Nats saw him in the series, and it was a 6-4 ball game. I don't know if Casilla didn't need work or something like that, but Montas had been used on Friday, so that was a little bit surprising by Melvin. In the ninth, also, the A's were allowed a challenge via crew chief challenge. Stephen Vogt got a base hit. Again, I wonder whether or not eventually an umpire is going to say, no, you can't challenge, but that's just the way it is. A's had lost their challenge in the prior inning. But I think that's changing for a while. You'd rather give the manager the courtesy than have the whole difficulty of saying no in that situation. So Glover, I thought, again, I'm not worried about him. I know a lot of people. I was having a conversation on Twitter before I hopped on here that said you have to be worried about Glover, and I disagree. He's been great up until today. And I think you have to look at this 7-run situation as he's waited a long time to get in there. To me, he's got to learn how to deal with those situations. That's not easy for a young reliever to do. He still looked dominant against Lowry in the 8th inning. I think that's the at-bat you got to focus on with him because he keeps getting those big outs for you more often than not. So I would hold off on the concern for Glover. It doesn't change the fact that Mike Rizzo's got to add relievers by the deadline. But I don't think your confidence should waver in Glover. He shows great emotion. I love the emotion he showed in the dugout after getting taken out. He should be angry. And you love the passion he plays with. I think that's the most important thing. He's got that mindset, like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get these outs. And they needed that big time. I want to take a closer look at Kelly's line. And I know I hate to beat up on the guy. I really do. But he did throw 10 strikes on 15 pitches. Glover, 14 strikes on 22 pitches. Did have the one walk to Olsen. But Kelly's given up 7 home runs this season, ERA of 6. He's only been used 3 times since May 19th. And every time he's out there, he's given up 4 home runs in his last 10 appearances. You can't have that if you want to win. Period. And they have to fix Sean Kelly. Blake Trine, Judo Joker says Blake Trine's done his job recently too. He would have been a better option. Also, Albers could use work too since the bullpen has had a light load recently. Yeah, Albers hasn't pitched since Wednesday. So, and he did throw 34, not Wednesday, Tuesday, I'm sorry. Tuesday was the game. And he threw 34 pitches in that game. But Albers has not pitched in almost a week. Meanwhile, Trinan, the only way I disagree, Judo, and I do like your mind thinking with Trinan, hadn't pitched since he pitched on Friday for a couple innings. That would kind of ease me away from that. What about Oliver Perez? I mean, you rarely see Oliver Perez anymore. I mean, isn't the point of getting 3 outs in a 7-run game just give it to Oliver Perez and try to get him out of it? Like, that's where I would have rather saved Glover for tomorrow. And now you don't know what code is going to give you tomorrow because of all the work he had to do today. And then if you need Glover in these games now, I'm sure he'll be available tomorrow. And then you got Max on Tuesday, so that'll help. I just don't like the way Dusty managed today. You can disagree with me on that all you want. I understand it, but I think Baker did not do a good job today in that 9th inning. I think that's more on him than it is on Glover and a little bit on Kelly. So the Nationals get the win. They take 2 out of 3. They've won 4 series in a row, and I think that's really important too. This team doesn't get swept. They just go out there. They stay consistent. They're having another good West Coast trip. Swept the Giants. Took 2 out of 3 from Oakland. The A's fans, I guess, can now go watch the finals tonight on ABC, Cavs and Warriors. But a strong performance, at least by the offense. Trey Turner, 2 more stolen bases today, and a triple, as we mentioned. Yeah, I love the double steal with Turner and Harper in the 8th inning. Great aggressiveness on the bases for those 2. Let's take a look around the NL East, and mixed bag for the teams today, but 3 of the other teams won. The Marlins get a win 6-5 against the Diamondbacks. A.J. Ellis with a game-winning base hit in the 7th against Archie Bradley. Tyler Moore hit a 3-run homer today, and look out for the Marlins. I know that they're not going to be in contention in all likelihood, but they had an excellent series against Arizona. Of course, the Edinson Volquez no-hitter, and they played well against a really good opponent, so give the Marlins a lot of credit. In Philadelphia, the Phillies take 2 out of 3 from the Giants. They win 9-7. Back-to-back home runs for Maikel Franco and Freddie Gillis in the 8th inning as Philadelphia rallied back to get the win 9-7. They take 2 out of 3 from San Francisco. They're 19-35. The Braves pick up a 13-8 win over Cincinnati this afternoon. Julio Teheran picked up the win there. Atlanta scored 9 runs in the first 3 innings. And RBIs in this one from Danny Santana had 3. Ender Inciarte had 5, including a 3-run shot in the 3rd. Matt Adams, another home run for him today. After the 2, I think he hit 2 yesterday. So it's been a good weekend for Matt Adams. And finally, the Mets did not play well today against the Pirates. They lost 11-1. A lot of mistakes in this one by the Mets. 2 errors by Michael Conforto. Tyler Pill gave up 3 earned over 5. And Andrew McCutchen hit a home run, so New York drops to 24-31. Let's take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchups. And before we do that, Judo's got a question. Did you hear Dusty's comments on Joe Ross? If so, your thoughts? Judo, I heard them, and that, to me, it further enhances my belief it's a confidence issue. I mean, he did fix the mechanics a little bit. He was having success at AAA. He had the good performance against Seattle, but when Ross gets in trouble, he doesn't trust his stuff to get out of it. And whether it's mechanics, arm slot, I don't want to go too far into it. We talked about it yesterday. You can watch the video if you missed it. I did not like the way Ross looked yesterday. I'm the one who sticks up for his even keel on the mound, but I don't know if he can make that start Thursday with any confidence against a good Orioles offense. But it remains to be seen. Dusty hasn't made a decision on that yet. Let's look at tomorrow's pitching matchup. Ron will be with you for this game. It's a 10:10 Eastern first pitch. Get out your coffee and all your caffeinated beverages. You can catch it on ESPN if you're not in the DC area like Ron and I are. Ron and I aren't. We're both not from DC, so we'll watch on ESPN to give you guys the best live tweets possible. Or you can watch on Masson. Gio Gonzalez takes the ball for the Nats, 4-1 with a 3.03 ERA against Hyun-Jun Ryu for the Dodgers, who's 2-5 with a 3.91. And you look at this, this is a big game for Gio. The Dodgers are hitting better against lefties this year. They're not one of the better teams in the league against. They're hitting like 247, I think, against left-handed pitching. This is the kind of game I want to see Gio go out there and pitch well. Because he's walked 3 or more in 9 straight. You got to cut out on the walks. Because this is a Dodger lineup with Seager, Bellinger, Gonzalez, Grandal. Yes, they don't have Justin Turner, but Logan Forsythe's hitting the ball well. This is one of the best offenses in the National League, and you'll see 2 of the best offenses go up against each other. Gio's got to go out there and be consistent. He's done a nice job getting out of runners in scoring position situations this year, but this is his first really big test against a good opponent. He did not pitch well at Dodger Stadium in the playoffs last year. He needs a good performance tomorrow, or you can worry about Gio too. Because Tanner Roark has sort of eased the worry, and I've been hard on him, but he's pitched really well the last 3 times out, so I'll ease off on my Tanner Roark criticisms. But Gio needs more than he's getting. I mean, you cannot walk 3 or more in 9 in a row. And you see on Masson says effectively wild. To me, there's no effectively being wild. You can't keep walking guys against, or eventually they're going to make you pay. He's been fortunate that a lot of the times that hasn't happened this year, but he's got to be able to throw strikes against this Dodger offense. Meanwhile, Ryu's pitching for Alex Wood, who's had a fantastic season. Had a good start against the Cardinals, 1 run in 6 innings last time out. Not a lot of experience for the Nats against Ryu. Murphy's got 3 hits, but nobody's got a home run. So this should be an interesting matchup. You got Max Scherzer and Brandon McCarthy on Tuesday, and of course the big one Wednesday we're all waiting for is Steven Strasburg and Clayton Kershaw at 3 o'clock. So let's go around the minors and see what happened today. Syracuse's game was postponed due to rain against Columbus, so they had the night off tonight. Hagerstown lost to Tim Tebow and the Columbia Fireflies 5-3. Tebow had a bases-loaded walk in this game. Tyler Watson, 5 innings, 4 runs, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks in the loss. RBIs for Anderson Franco. He's now got 29 this year. And Jake Knoll, his 31st RBI of the season, as the Suns dropped to 33 and 23. Harrisburg lost to Erie this afternoon 6-3. They've lost 4 straight. They're now 23 and 32. Matthew Crownover in his Double-A debut gives up 3 runs, 8 hits, strikes out 5 over 4 innings. Eric Fetty gave up a home run, but he struck out 3 in 2 relief innings, 27 pitches, 15 strikes. He's looked really good as a reliever for the Senators so far. Couple RBIs for Jose Marmoleos today. He had a pair of hits, and Mario Lisson 2 for 4 with an RBI in this game in the loss for Harrisburg. Roddy Reed also had a pair of hits. And the game in progress right now, Potomac down 4-0 to the Frederick Keys. That game in the top of the 7th. P-Nats have 2 hits in this game, both by Matthew Page, who has a double. The Keys have hit 2 home runs in this ball game against Hector Silvestri. 5 innings, 4 runs, 9 hits, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. His night is done. Keegan Aiken for the Keys has 7 strikeouts through 6. So a good performance for the Keys. Potomac right now at 26 and 29. So, again, when you look at this series coming up against the Dodgers, I think the key has got to be 2 out of 3 would be fantastic. But in order to do that, I think you've got to win one of these first 2 games, or even win both, to be honest. Kershaw has dominated the Nationals. It just doesn't seem to lose against them. I'm sure he's in their head after the Game 5 save, pitching well in 3 days rest in Game 4 last year, and getting a win on an average night for him in Game 1 of that series. No Justin Turner, and Turner is really good against the Nats. That's going to be a huge bonus for them. But you look at the way Bellinger has played, he's one of the best rookies in the league, and he's filled in nicely for the Dodgers with some big injuries that they've had. They've had 24 DL stints this year. But they're right at the top of the National League West. They did lose to Milwaukee today. Kenta Maeda didn't go deep in this game, so the Dodgers might not have a quick hook for you tomorrow night if their bullpen's in dire straits, after Maeda didn't give them any length today. So that's something to monitor for tomorrow. But the Nationals, I think, could make a statement here. They haven't really played any great teams since, you can make the case, since Baltimore, who's been good this year. Colorado, they played in late April. Arizona, they played in early May. This is a huge test because the Dodgers, right now, I think, until the Cubs bounce back, are the biggest challenge the Nationals getting to a World Series. So you've got to go into their building and play well. Last year, they blew a couple of games there in the regular season. Of course, the blowing Game 4 after rallying to tie the ball game. And I'll have 5 to watch in that series coming up tomorrow, so you can check that out. Ron has more on the website about the offense on a historic pace. I'm sure they kept that going today with 11 runs in the final 4 innings. And Drew has our player of the week, which I'll give you a hint. He's one of my 5 to watch tomorrow. You'll have to go online and read it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go online and see Drew's player of the week. And Ron is right. Kershaw is a robot. No reason. Kershaw right now, I think you're looking at the Cy Young race, is Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer. I mean, those two have been the best in the National League this year. And if Steven Strasburg pitches well against Kershaw on Wednesday, he's got 7 wins already this year. You can put him in the conversation with a great start against Kershaw. I think he would make, it's on MLB Network, he would make a huge statement with a great game on Wednesday. And Ron will be with you for that. I'll be with you Tuesday for Scherzer and McCarthy. So grab the coffee and join me on Tuesday. Again, Nats get the win 11-10. You can be happy about this game, at least if they won. But the bullpen in particular, I'm worrying more about Kelly than I am about Glover. I think Glover will bounce back. I have trust in him. So thanks for all you guys for tuning in. I'm sure NBA Finals on 10 minutes. I'm sure you'll watch that tonight. I probably am. So for all of us here at District on Deck, I'm Ricky Keeler saying hope you have a great rest of your evening. And Ron will be back with you tomorrow night for the beginning of the National Series on the West Coast